Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Positive Change Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Hodges.
And I'm Camille Hodges.
Today, we are talking about probably one of my favorite personal growth type of topics, and that's changing your mindset.
Let's get positive.
So today, we're going to start it off. Camille has had a story that she has been dying to tell.
I'm not dying.
Okay,
maybe I was.
You were dying.
A little bit.
But, so, if you want to go ahead and talk about your experience this week and what kind of hit us unexpectedly and maybe possibly changed our life here for the next little bit, you can go ahead and talk about that.
Well, the past week, had a little bit of headaches and stuff like that. So I went to the doctor and got diagnosed with migraines and got put on medication. And in that, my medications got sent to the wrong pharmacies. And it became very much of a headache the next day.
On top of your already.
Yeah, on top of my already headaches. To then have them resend them to the proper pharmacy and all these things, that I was getting very frustrated and very upset. And my lovely husband over there was there's nothing to get frustrated over. There's nothing more you can do. You did what you needed to do, so it's just a waiting game. And of course, because I'm having migraines, I'm like, no, I need my medication. Ow, my head hurts. But it all worked out and made me realize I needed to take a nice deep breath and remember that I cannot control other people and what they do. I can only control how I react to things. So,
well, I think along with that, you handled it well. You did handle it very well. It was unexpected, and that was kind of a curveball for us because up until that point, we weren't really exactly having a bad week, and these kind of just came out of nowhere, and you just started complaining about how one side of your face was hurting, and that was kind of the first point that I probably should have paid a little more attention to, but we were also just getting over a cold and stuff, so you were like, maybe it's just like a sinus infection or something like that, and so we didn't really pay attention to it. But I did tell you 3 days in, I was just like, if it doesn't get any better by the next 2 days, you need to go and get checked out, and that's when you went and got checked out. But yeah, and everything worked out, and we're doing okay. I think today you were pretty good.
My first day without a migraine.
Yeah, which is really nice.
Just because I figured out through my doctor which ways to help take care of it, and on bad days what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what I should consume, what I shouldn't consume, things to avoid, and everything in between.
Like stress. Kind of hard with two boys.
Kind of hard, but
we'll try.
Everything works out in the end. Hopefully I get better and don't have as many migraines as I've had in the past week. Hopefully.
Well, and today was really the first day that you kind of...
I took medication.
Well, you took the medication, but it helped. And that was really good for you because it's really sucked seeing you in pain the last couple of days. Well, and I didn't even understand, you said 10 was the pain that you had for childbirth, and you said this was rated at a 7. So I didn't fully understand how bad the pain was until you told me that. And so that was pretty crazy.
Pretty severe.
Yeah.
Pretty severe.
But I'm glad we got it all figured out.
Yep. Me too.
So we're going to go ahead and get into our topic. We're going to do exactly what we have done on the past podcast and start it off with a quote. You may know the person that said this. Her name is Oprah Winfrey. So I would hope that.
We love a good quote from Oprah Winfrey.
I just love quotes in general. I'm going to look over here real quick, but the quote is, "There is no greater gift you can give or receive than to honor your calling. It's why you were born and how you become most truly alive." Leading that into mindset, you need to really develop a mindset that is towards personal growth, towards making yourself a better person. There's really 3 topics that I like to talk about within this kind of umbrella topic. There's so many points that you can touch on this, but my main 3 are resilience, growth, and gratitude. Or I guess 4, because I also like to throw in there. It's more of like the main overarching is finding your why. What's the reason
Your
you're doing it?
purpose or your passion.
Yeah, and that's a part of all of it. So, multiple points that we'll touch on over this podcast. But let's kind of just dive into it and really start off with finding your why. I think that's one of the most important parts. Finding your why can be as simple as being there for your family, or, my why is to get a house, to provide for my family so that my sons can possibly play football, can play baseball, can go to a good college, can, have a good example in their life. It can be something super simple, or it can be something super deep and kind of profound. My personal why is just to be able to provide for you and our boys. But also it's for me to always be growing, to always be learning and becoming better. If I'm not working towards something, I've always found stagnation is my biggest enemy, because if I don't feel like I'm doing something, then that's where my depression starts to kind of creep in. It's really hard for me to just stay idle and not be focused on something. And you've noticed this. I mean, I have 40 million things running through my mind every day. And
so many ideas.
Yeah.
So many places you want to go, places you want to, things you want to do. It never stops.
Well, and most of the times these ideas aren't actually anything. They're just ideas.
They're just ideas.
Maybe there's certain ones that I write down because I'm like, that one could actually be something really big, like the podcast. Like this was one of my big 40 ideas.
Yep.
Well, and it's something that even this, I have 40 more ideas on top of this that are for this podcast.
He has so many ideas. It's hard to explain.
It's ridiculous, but
sometimes I have to tell him, slow down. You're going a little too fast.
Yeah, I've been trying to really focus on taking it one thing at a time, because if I found that if I do try to focus on multiple things, then I just become burnt out. And that is really hard for me, but also for you, because then I'm not giving my attention to you the way that I need to, or the boys that I need the way that I need to. So I've tried to really focus on not doing that. And if I have those ideas, I'll write them down and then focus on them later. Exactly.
Later.
And I found that doing that, I am able to weed out the ones that probably aren't actually worth looking into. Because if I write them down, then it makes it a lot easier. So anyways, finding your why, or actually let's touch on yours. What would your why be?
Being a mom, being a wife, being able to do the things that I know I'm supposed to do in the mothering sense, because I am raising the next generation, and making it a point to know that I'm raising our boys to have the resilience and have their personal growth in place, so that they don't, I wouldn't say that they don't get beaten down, but that they know how to problem solve without us present, and to show them the love that they need. I think that's the biggest thing. And then wife-wise, just being supportive and being there for you while also taking care of myself. Because that's a big, big thing that I've realized since our oldest was like 1, is that if I'm not okay, then I'm not doing an okay job being a wife and being a mom, being a daughter, all the...
You do a fantastic job at, by the way.
I try. But if I'm not fully okay, then I can't do those roles properly. And I can't take care of everybody in the proper way that I should, because I'm not even taking care of myself.
Well, I think that's a big thing to touch on as well, is don't let your why consume you, because focusing so much on just making it so your why is accomplished and neglecting yourself and your personal passions or your personal feelings is very dangerous.
I call it your personal fire.
Yeah.
If you let that fire go out, then to me, I feel like a shell of a person. I don't feel like myself. So if the fire, or some people call it the match or the candle inside them, if the candle goes out, then who are you? Who are you to others and to yourself? Because if you don't have that, what are you to everybody else?
With that, can you be someone to others? Can you be a help? Can you be, supportive? Can you be someone who's able to actually be there for someone else? Especially if you have kids. If you yourself aren't able to understand who you are, how are you going to help your kids figure out who they are? And throughout this podcast, you'll hear us basically talk about our kids, and I mean that's our main why, like I said. And so that's what's really important to us, and where we lead kind of into our next section, which is finding your purpose and really getting to understand it and exploring the passions that you have to really find that purpose in life. So your purpose can be found in many different ways. I think one of the main ways that you can find it is through passions. So me personally, I love wakeboarding. I love music, which is one of my passions that I've lacked on lately. But it's one of those things that I know that I need to rediscover. And I've been pulling out the uke a little bit more often lately and playing that a little bit, especially when we got the microphones for the podcast. I was like, maybe I could start recording some stuff. That would be fun. But yeah, and so finding your passions to truly understand what your purpose is in life, because I think your passions are a integral part of you that is really a gift that you were given. Whether it's something that's, athletic based or musically based or public speaking, it could be a number of things. She gave that look because I'm okay at public speaking and she hates it. She just absolutely hates it. So I actually enjoy public speaking.
Do you see my look? It's the deer in the headlights.
But finding your purpose through your passions is, I believe, one of the easiest ways, just because you already do your passions. You already enjoy those things. And those are the things that kind of mold you to be the person that you are. If you're athletic, you're probably going to be fit, which means you're probably going to play some sort of sport, which gives you kind of that motivational factor. It gives you the hard work ethic. It gives you a lot of different parts of your life that kind of make you grow. Musically, like me personally, creativity. I wrote a lot of songs in high school, play guitar, ukulele. I dabbled on the piano a little bit, but I don't even do that really anymore. And my guitar broke like 3 years ago, so I need to get that fixed. But yeah, finding your passions is super important in order to fulfill your purpose. Yeah, anything you have to add?
I mean, my passions are kind of Non-existent currently.
Yeah. Kids have kind of done that to us. Really lost, like, our passions.
Most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I got one of them back. Well, gained one, which was crocheting. Still love it. I just haven't done it in a while because I like to do crocheting things as gifts for people, not really for myself. I mean, one day for myself. But I like to see other people's reactions when they see something that I've like taken a long time to think about and what to do. So I like to crochet. I used to be like you, musically inclined, always doing something, but that has taken a back burner.
Yeah, that's also a big thing that we can touch on is sometimes your passions do take a back burner because of certain circumstances. For us, it was we were figuring out how to be parents. We kind of threw everything that we love to do on the back burner. And I mean like everything. Like we have to really rediscover ourselves and who we are right now, which is, I think, a big part of this podcast for us is just rediscovering.
Yeah.
So.
I think the biggest thing is like you gave up going to the gym, and because when we first met, he was a big gym goer. He was, always active, always
look at it right now,
always doing things. I mean, we're still quite active gym wise, going and working out up until we found out we were pregnant with our youngest. Like, we were really good about going to the gym and being very diligent about it. And then that kind of took a back burner because I had one kind of diagnosis that just kind of made things a little complicated. Not really, but did.
Well, for me, it was more time management. It's like trying to figure out now 2 kids and work and school. I mean, it's just been it was a lot, and we were finally getting onto a different path to where we're able to actually focus on these things and change our personal lives and
like things that we like to do. Gym for you. For me, it was like I liked to go and get my hair done. I liked to get my nails done because it made me feel like a human. And that's kind of on the back burner for many purposes, but also just because it takes time away. Spending time for family.
And I think that's the biggest stigma is if you're not spending time with your family, you're not a good person or you're not a good parent.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. I think there are very different. I think there's a lot that comes with like personal growth and learning who you are and things like that. Because when you do figure out what your passions are, you do figure out what your purpose is, you get all those voices that say, well, for instance, for me, if I wanted to go into a career, people would go, you're going to send your kids off to somebody else to take care of? You're a bad mom for doing that. Or vice versa, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I get the whole thing of, why do you make your husband work all the time and you don't work? And it's a double-edged sword in that sense and it generally doesn't come from and just anybody. It comes from mostly other moms, which is very difficult. And I think that's where it's all, if you don't know who you are, you don't know how you want to do certain things, those kinds of things can really break you. And I have had those like really break me before, and it's very hard because Because it's a double-edged sword. You want to find your purpose, you want to find your passion, but you also don't want people to put their 2 cents in. So you just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, and that's where resilience comes in.
Yeah.
Because building the resilience so that, the people that are doubters or the people who tell you, you're not being that good mom or you're not being that good dad or, oh, you need to spend more time doing this rather than that just to be a better provider or do
XYZ.
Exactly. That's where resilience comes in because you know what you need to do. And you're the only person that knows your exact situation. These people may be looking at you from the outside and be like, oh, that person is neglecting their kids because they're trying to, or they're working so long. And it's like, no, I'm working because I'm trying to make a better life for my kids, and it's a temporary thing so that I can then spend the time with my family. Work now so that you can then reap the benefits later. And if you have a plan that is still allowing you to spend the time with your children or with your friends or your family that you're wanting, you know what you need to do. And so building the resilience so that you can withstand those comments is huge. Because if you can build that, then it doesn't matter what everybody says. It just matters what you say or your spouse. Because if you and your spouse are on the same page, or you and your significant other, or you are in your life coach, it could be anybody. You're on the same page. Doesn't matter what everybody else says.
Well, it's just talking about resilience. It just brought up one of the things that I find that I wish that I could have said to myself 4.5 years ago with our first, which was, no matter what you're doing, and I got this very late, advice. I struggled to breastfeed. I couldn't breastfeed our children, and it was very stressful and everything in between. And I got a comment that was, why aren't you breastfeeding? Why aren't you trying harder? And I'm like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but my body's just not doing it. So I'm gonna give them what they need, which was formula. And I think that's just and I got a very wise advice from a family member along the lines of, she said, you know what your child needs and you know what you need. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do. Don't let the other people make it so that you are now regretting and feeling horrible about yourself for the fact that your body can't do what it's supposed to be doing. She's like, it is okay. It is okay for this to be happening. And that was just, I think that's the biggest thing, is just in any shape or form, nothing that you are doing is wrong. Nothing you're doing for your family or for yourself or whatever, it is wrong at all. You are doing it for you. And there comes a time where you just have to let other people's opinions roll off. Because all it's going to do is cause more anguish and pain in yourself. And I think that's probably my biggest thing about resilience is it takes a lot of effort. It really does. And some days are easier than others. But no matter what you do, have the strength to do it. Everybody does. Just sometimes you need a little more help. sometimes you do. You
Well, and
just need a little.
that also leads into the next part, which is developing the growth mindset so that you're able to conquer those types of obstacles in your way. Because if you have a mindset that's just kind of lackadaisical, where you are, oh, I'll do this when it comes along, or I'll wait until that opportunity comes, and you're not actively searching for the opportunity, or if you're not actively saying, no, I'm going to find that and it's going to change my life. Like, if you're not in that mindset that your personal self needs growth, then it's really hard to overcome obstacles when they do get put in your way. Yeah. But a growth mindset is very important, because when you instill that into yourself as just a regular way of thought, it opens so many opportunities and so many possibilities in your life. Me personally, I'm able to see, I mean, I've had this since I was probably 16. I've always worked towards this. And whether it be from businesses that taught me, life lessons, or job opportunities that came that I saw and I'm like, hey, I need to take that, or the podcast, it's things that I see them and I find a way to make it happen. And I've been taught that since I was young. My parents taught me that, but I really started noticing it probably when I was about 16, 17.
No.
But yeah.
I think it's more so not just that, but the job opportunities you had, the situations you had that most teenagers don't have.
Yeah.
And they don't have the drive to do that.
Well, and even afterwards, like, I've had some of my literal dream jobs, and they turned out to be jobs. Like, they were fun, they were great, and I probably had some of my best memories from work experiences with them, but they were just that. They were jobs. And at the end of the day, it still had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
And so no matter what you do, if you have the growth mindset to create the opportunities that you want, or to always be chasing those, and how to become better, how to make it better, that's what creates the better life, the better opportunities. But also understanding that even with that growth mindset, negativity is still going to be there. You're still going to have hardships. You're still going to have obstacles that get put in that place. And it's up to you to truly create a different, I guess, roadmap to create that mindset for yourself.
Yeah.
So, really important growth mindset. I could literally talk about an entire episode on that, and maybe we will at some point. But
you could go on and on, and I would probably fall asleep.
Probably, because it would probably be like a 3.5 hour long podcast. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But I could probably talk about it for a while, and maybe we will. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point. But then we'll kind of touch on our last one, which is developing an attitude of gratitude, because gratitude is super important. You got to show praise for the things that happen in your life, little accomplishments, big accomplishments. The way that I always see it is celebrate the little accomplishments publicly, because that's something like, hey, you did a great job, high five, like that. The big accomplishments, if you just started a business, if you just, made your first $1 million, if you bought a home,
a podcast,
started a podcast, like, and if this podcast gets big, like, I'm going to celebrate that.
Yeah.
But my big accomplishments, like, if this thing gets massive, I'm probably not going to share a ton of stuff, because for me, the big accomplishments are very personal. The little accomplishments are the stepping stones to the big. And those are the things that I want to share. Yeah. If I'm starting a business, I'm going to share my experience going up to having a business, not showing off when my business starts and like saying, I just made this. Like, that's super cool.
Well, I think
No.
there's difference to certain things. Like when it comes to business opportunities, yes, everybody needs to see the stepping stones. But when it comes to like, again, children, they are probably our biggest two. They're two. There's two of them. Two of our biggest accomplishments currently are our kids. And I don't really need to show you or tell you all the stepping stones of having a baby. I don't. I can just show you the end product.
Well, and those are, yeah, I mean, like I said, it kind of comes, like you said, with a grain of salt, because it's like you pick and choose the things that you do show off, but the big accomplishments.
Buying a house?
Well, no, I mean, technically, like buying a house, that's not exactly like a big accomplishment. It is for us. Like, it's huge. And for some people, it may be. But that's something that you do show off.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that you do show off. But again, that's kind of the big part of it. The stepping stones are, meeting with an agent.
No.
Found the house, putting in an offer.
I guess other stepping stones is like weight loss.
Yeah.
Me losing weight.
Yeah. So for me, like, I'm planning on going on some sort of weight loss thing, like whether I go and work out, do something. And I don't exactly plan to show just my end result. I want to start with, this is where I started, this is how it happened all the way through, and this is where I ended. Because that brings more impact than just showing your end result. Because people didn't know you at the very beginning of it, they're not going to really care about what you looked like at the end of it. So it's showing the importance of the steps that you took to get to that. And showing the gratitude that you have for your journey.
Yeah.
Or for other people's journey that you could be a part of. It's huge. It's so important, because, like, if I wasn't grateful for the things that have happened in my life would be miserable.
Yes.
Like, it would be, because if you don't show how grateful you are for other people, for situations, for opportunities that you're given, it's just going to be a hard life for you. So develop that attitude and work towards it. It's hard sometimes, a lot of times, as a matter of fact, but work towards it, develop it, create gratitude. And
gratitude is big.
Yeah, it will literally change your life. But creating this growth mindset, creates the positive change that we're needing in this world, and creates the personal change that possibly you need, that I know I need, and that I'm working towards. So I think that's really all we have for now, unless you have a couple other things to add.
That was just, whoa.
We're getting tired. We're ready to go to bed.
I was just going to say, gratitude, a lot of people do it differently. I know some people who do like a gratitude journal where they daily journal it. I can't do that. Journal to me will become, in the distance, it will disappear. I can't do stuff like that, but I can do like, look at you in bed and be like, hey, today I was grateful for this. Or, hey, thanks for doing those dishes. Very grateful for that.
Little accomplishments.
Yes. So being grateful with your growth and stuff can be very small, and you can just say them to your spouse or the person that's supporting you in doing this, and just kind of look at them and be like, hey, today I am grateful for XYZ. Just, hold yourself accountable and have somebody else hold you accountable, because it is very hard to do things like this. And I can say that from experience.
Same. Very, very hard. But it's worth it.
It is.
In the end, very much so worth it. And with that, I think we'll kind of just leave you with the same challenge that we leave with you with every single time. And that's to be the change in the world that you want to find in this world. And if you see some sort of opportunity to develop your personal growth or develop a mindset, take it. Take action. Move towards creating the positive change that you want in your life and in this world.
And whenever you guys see this, I was just gonna say that whenever you're seeing this, we're filming it literally 3 days before our first episode is released.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited during this episode, but we're nervous, and it's not that we're nervous about the things that we have. We're very comfortable in what we've said, and we stand behind it. It's more we want this to truly impact people, and we want this to change lives and change our lives. Like I want this to be something that we can look back at and be super proud of, which I'm already proud of it. We're doing.
I mean, it may not be a forever thing, and it may be,
yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows?
But I know that this is a personal passion that I have, that I feel like I've kind of rubbed off on you, that we're really working towards together.
Okay.
But we're working towards it together, and that's what's important. And so
I hope you are listening with someone you love, or I hope you're listening by yourself and you're sending this off to somebody else. But we love you.
We're grateful for you.
And we're very excited.
And we can't wait to share more of what we have for you. Until then, we'll plan to see you next time.
See ya.